Welcome to the AA Podcast, our little corner of the web where we are not afraid to discuss tough questions like,
when did nutrition, health, movement, and stress management become alternative medicine?
Where we embrace challenges in all aspects of life to become healthier and stronger versions of ourselves.
And where food and movement are the best kinds of medicine, and cooking meals at home is a revolutionary act. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the AA Podcast. This is Ashley Olson.
And I'm Andrea Crane.
We are wrapping up our series on setting up your macros, diet, calories for certain stages of your life. So if you haven't already, go back and listen to the previous 3 episodes on this. We share quite a wealth of information, if I do say so myself.
You may.
Yes. So go back and listen. But as always, we are going to start off this episode with our weekly Bible verse, and mine is coming from, once again, we're in the Psalm 34:8.
Yeah,
and
boy.
It says, "Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who takes refuge in him."
That's a favorite. All right. And mine is Psalm 89:5. And the heavens shall praise thy wonders, O Lord, thy faithfulness also in the congregation of the saints.
Awesome.
Psalms are just majestic.
They
I think
truly are.
they belong in the fall. So
I
there
agree.
you go.
So today, Andrea, we're going to be talking about setting up your macros, calories, intentions, if you will, for the holidays. So we're at the end of October. We're right headed into
Yeah.
Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. And typically for most people, this is the hardest time of year for them in terms of their diet. Most people just say, screw it, and I'll just start over January 1, or January 2, I should say, because most people are still recovering after January 1. And so we feel like there is a better way. And we feel there's a better way in the sense of this isn't going to be, this is that you need to be doing XYZ, and you need to be hitting all of these things, and you need to be perfect, because otherwise you're just going to fall off, everything's just going to go to the way, and you're just going to gain all this weight. Well, we think that there's a better way. And that way is creating some habits, but some intentions with this holiday season that is going to set you up for better success, not only physically, but mentally as well.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say, like, it's even though this time of the year probably goes faster than any other time of the year, I just want you to consider, like, if you decide to abandon everything on Halloween, and it's usually the week coming up to Halloween, right? Because that's when all the candy starts getting put out and all of that. So let's just go from like the end of Halloween, so end of October to November to December and then to January. We're really talking about 3 months. That's a quarter of the year. So it may seem like all this stuff happens in like 3 weeks time, but
Right.
it's really 3 months. And so if you decide to abandon all hope and just, call it a free for all and, oh, I'll begin again in January, which we all know that you won't. You're going to go to the end of January.
Yep.
And so because, there's Super Bowl. I mean, we can't forget
That's
that.
true.
And so
Yeah.
I'll
And
just start after the Super
Valentine's.
Bowl. Right. And so, oh my gosh. So yeah, it just keeps going and going. So really, it's about having an intentional plan to enjoy yourself and also to honor the intentions that you've made.
Right. Yep. I heard something today, and especially in America, food is such a part of our culture, in the sense of, and I think it's in most
Yeah,
countries' culture, but in
absolutely.
America, I feel like we just kind of overboard it, and obviously American food is very much known for being highly processed and just
Poor quality.
not a great quality, yeah, food.
Mhm.
Whereas in other countries, there's a higher standard of expectations with that.
Yeah.
But so
Yeah.
food is such a joyous part of our life
Mhm.
worldwide, and I we both enjoy food. We love food. Um,
Yeah.
and so something that I heard today that really kind of struck a chord with me was you cannot have a high quality life without high quality muscles. And if you have
Mhm.
listened to our
Mhm.
episodes before, you know how much we harp on strength training and protein and all those things. So that's definitely going to
Mhm.
be a part of our message today, I guess, that we want to get across that you to have a high quality life, let's shift that mindset from, just not being able to have boundaries and a plan
Mhm.
because maybe you'll get that side eye from grandma or that oh you must be on a diet
Right.
comments,
Right.
oh
Yeah,
you're
kinda
such a goody
shaming.
two yeah you're such a
Yeah.
goody two shoes, you're not having a second dessert type comment from the family, and we all know that happens. And
Yeah.
so being very intentional with how we address those situations too,
Mhm.
because if you already know that they're going to be a comment, then have the mental fortitude to know how you want to respond as
Right.
well.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so, um, something that I'm really big on is I am actually not huge on goals. And goals over the holiday are not something that I ever have my clients set because it's already a hard time of year. And so, a word that I've used in the past is habits. Like, what habits
Mhm.
do you want to ingrain in your life that will
Mm.
carry you through for a longer period of time than, a grandiose goal? So, you might have a goal um, of losing 20 pounds. Well, that's a great goal. But how are
Mhm.
you getting to that goal? What habits
Mhm.
are you placing in your life to get there? And so, something I heard also today was instead of creating or setting goals, create standards. And I feel like that just
I like that.
really makes it way more impactful and powerful because most people have standards in their life that they won't ever go against.
Mm.
And so, if you are
Yeah.
setting standards
Yeah,
with your health and your fitness, that holds a lot more weight.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me,
I it was breaking up,
Ashley?
but,
Are you there?
it's probably oh, yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Okay. Is it lagging?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will just try to power through here. What I wanted to say is, could we have a little conversation on quality? Right. So yes, we talked about American. In America, we're no different than anywhere around the world. Like food is always a part of tradition and celebration and holidays and things that we remember and things that we look forward to annually. But you're right, the quality of our food is just trash. So if you look around the world and see what other people do for, Christmas celebrations, for instance, or something like, they don't have Thanksgiving, but they have other remembrances, right? But those those kinds of celebrations are always accompanied by old recipes that have been handed down for generations, and they'll spend days cooking these very special things that are not processed, they're not highly processed, right? But you look at what our culture has become, and it's like, oh, I'm going to go to Costco and get the pumpkin pie. I'm going to go to this smokehouse and get the turkey. I'm going to make green bean casserole, which is basically like, 3 cans of green beans, a can of processed mushroom soup. I mean, it's horrendous. It's heretical. It's like not real food, really. So I would just say, if you can, maybe we start, maybe we start this. making this conversation a little different. Maybe we start looking for quality rather than quantity of inputs here.
Mhm.
And I think we can start. This is a weird place to start, but we start with Halloween candy,
Yeah.
right? If there, so we know that Halloween is like, it's just raining candy. And this is highly processed food. Now, you may have a very specific kind of candy that you look forward to on Halloween every year, right? You might raid your kids' Halloween candy and you pick out all of the, what would that be, Ashley? Kit Kat?
Kit Kat. Oh,
Uh-huh.
don't bash my Kit Kat.
Sorry. Yeah, so for me it's oh my gosh, what do I like? I like Reese's Fine. But I really like, so this is really old and you don't hardly see these anymore, but like Score and Heath bars, the
Oh, yeah.
toffee, those are my
Mhm.
absolute favorites. So yeah, if you so I would say go out and get yourself some of these, okay? And then just have them, but don't have anything else. You don't have to eat all the rest of the trash in order to have your little celebratory Kit Kat or
Right.
whatever it is that
Yeah.
you want. So yeah, make it about quality rather than quantity.
Yeah, and, moderation.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
I like that term in some aspects. So Andrea said something when we were talking about this episode. It's okay to have your favorite foods. We're not saying get rid
Mhm.
of them completely, but like Andrea was saying, like you don't have to just gorge yourself because have this mindset of like, oh, I've got to have it all today because tomorrow I'm
Mhm.
not going to have it anymore. So instead of having that mindset, have this thought process of like, it's okay to have it. It's not going to derail me by having it. Sure, is
Mhm.
it not the best thing for me? No. Is there better things that I could have instead? Sure. But is it going to bring me a little piece of nostalgia or of joy?
Mhm.
And enjoy that moment. Like it's
Yes,
not
do it.
up, don't have shame or guilt around it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, so what I said is it's okay to eat your favorite foods. It's not okay to not have a plan.
Right.
So, you got to have a plan for dealing with these things. And yeah, just like she mentioned, eat the Kit Kat. Eat it.
I
But
love a good Kit Kat.
yeah, yeah, but just remind yourself that even leading up to the day, like, okay, I'm going to celebrate on this holiday, and then once it's over, it's over.
Hmm.
And it's not like, "Oh, I give up. I'm gonna eat everything all at once right now."
Yeah.
Because the next day is gonna come and you're gonna be like, "Well, I fell off the wagon, so I might as well just roll till Thanksgiving." And then Thanksgiving's gonna
Hmm.
come and you're just gonna roll till Christmas and then New Year's is there. And so, like I said, before you know it, 3 months has passed and a
Hmm.
quarter of your year is gone when
Yeah.
this should have been like 4 days of indiscretions and then move
Hmm.
on.
Yeah. And something I always put in perspective too is that I should have looked this up before we had this. There's like maybe a handful, I'll just say a handful of major holidays where food
Mhm.
is really the focus
Mhm.
in our culture. And so if you think about it, say there's five. Say there's five
Mhm.
major food holidays. Um, there are literally 360 other
Mhm.
days.
Oh, say
So
there's 10.
yeah.
Say there's 15. You got
So you have
birthdays and anniversaries.
350 days.
Yes.
So
Yes.
5 to 15 days is not going to
Not
be
gonna break
what's
you.
derail you. It's
Mhm.
that what she just said, just making it a perpetual like three
Yeah, it's
months.
the slip.
Yes, that slip. And so I really like that terminology of instead of setting goals, set standards because what
Mhm.
standard are you holding yourself to?
Yeah.
And it's okay to be lenient on these certain holidays, but then what standard are you bringing yourself back to? Like,
Yeah.
hold yourself up to something higher. Like, you
Yeah.
know, stop belittling yourself or saying, or, just thinking like, oh, it's fine. I'll just, again, start on the new year. What
Mhm.
what can you do today? The other thing that I also want to mention too is that stop striving for perfection, and we've kind of
Yes.
hinted towards that, but stop striving for this perfection. So if
Mhm.
you have that cat and now your mind is taking you to this, well, you might as well just blow the rest of the day,
Mhm.
or weekend, whatever it may be.
Mm.
Think of what you can do that day or even the next several days to just be a little bit better. So again, holding yourself to that standard.
Mhm.
Um, and you might think, well, even if I'm just 1% better, that's not a big percentage. But if you are 1% better every day, that adds up
Mhm.
to quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think it's a lot easier for the slip that we've been talking about to occur when
Hmm.
you don't have a plan.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
plan to I mean, you might call it a cheat, you might call it whatever it is you want to call it. I call it just enjoying the day. But
Hmm.
plan for enjoying the day. And what is that
Yeah,
going to look like? Well, for
yeah,
me it's going to look like this one meal. This is when I'm going to enjoy this. Um and then the next day like it's over. It's
yeah.
over and
It's
you
back
get
to
back
it's
to.
back to your
Yes.
standard. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, we actually did a whole episode on goals, and we also did a great episode on staying on track for the holidays, which
Mhm.
Andrea did a great job of breaking down for those that are gluten free. So that might be something that maybe somebody that does need to be off gluten is struggling with, and maybe they've made some really life changing changes this year with, you say they are dealing with autoimmunity, which we talked about in that last episode, and that you absolutely have to be off gluten.
Mhm.
And so in your mind is like, oh my gosh, these holidays are coming up. How do I stay off gluten with these
Mhm.
carb heavy, bread heavy um, holidays? And so
Yeah.
she did a great job. And so I'll link
Mhm.
those episodes for you to go back and listen to. But honestly, this is a short and sweet episode on just figuring out before the holidays start hitting.
Mhm.
The first one is next week, Halloween, and then it's just like Andrea said, it's going to be a quick turnover for each of these holidays.
Mhm.
What plan, what standard are you going to hold yourself to over the next several months, so that way you're not starting over January 2nd
Right.
or February 1st or March 1st?
Mhm.
You actually have something that you can refer back to in a sense of a plan. It may not be perfect, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But
It
you
won't be.
actually have something. Yeah, no plan is really perfect. You grow
Mhm.
as you go through the plan. But just having that mindset and just realizing no holiday is a surprise.
Right.
That's another one.
Exactly.
It happens every year on the
Ugh,
exact same day. And
yes.
so you can't use the excuse of like, oh my gosh, so the year just got away from me. I forgot that Thanksgiving was
Mhm.
next week. Come on, let's be
Yeah.
realistic. We know
Every
that
year.
it's going to happen.
Yep.
So, again, what standard are you going to hold yourself to?
Yep, and honestly, the bottom line, this episode is called Holiday Macros, and so I think Ashley and I would both tell you the same thing, which is s- the day before and the day after. Stick to your macros, right?
Yeah.
Stick to your standards. That's your standard. That's your plumb line. Get back to your standard as
Yep.
quickly as possible. On the day of, plan for some indiscretions, but
Absolutely.
plan
Yeah.
for them. And so also know that, we're doing the same thing you are. So meet us here every week and we'll just get through these together. We'll mention it periodically, I'm sure, as we're catching up and laying out these episodes. But yeah, we're right there with you. And so you're not doing it alone. So we'll be going through the holidays with our macros and our standards and our habits intact as well. So we'll
Absolutely.
we'll help you keep that together.
And if you have any habits or standards that you've already set for yourself and you'd like to share those, we'd love to hear them.
Mhm.
Because honestly, what's the saying? There's nothing new under the sun. So just
Mhm.
hearing somebody else reiterate something. So, like, my standard is always protein focused.
Mhm.
I'm always thinking about how I can have protein. Um, as the main focus of my day. So that is my standard.
Mhm.
Um, and so that's what I'm going to hold myself to. And then I just feel good when I move. And whether that's, if I'm out of town and I can't get to the gym, that's fine, but I could go for walks.
Yeah.
I can do body weight stuff. It doesn't need to take an hour. It can be like a quick 10, 15, 20-minute, whatever. And I just know I'm going to feel better. So
Yeah.
those are just some simple standards that I'm going to hold myself to.
Mhm.
And you might have some that you will hold yourself to. So,
Yeah.
do you have
Yeah,
standards?
mine would include I like to move. That's one that I've got to do, and I'm as you know if you've listened to the show, I'm frequently working through injuries. So I do a lot of walking because that's what I can do. I love to lift, but when I can't, I do a lot of walking. And I also I focus heavily on non-processed foods. So I like to get
Mhm.
a lot of plant matter in my day. I like to get as many different diverse plant things into my diet as possible. And then obviously maximizing protein every chance I get, just to make sure that my day is at least 100 grams of
Yeah,
protein. Hmm.
absolutely. Well, that is literally that. I think this is our record.
I think it is
We
too.
might have to chat for 10 minutes
Crazy.
just because.
People
Oh
are going to
no.
think we're signing off for the
I
last time.
know what's
Yeah.
happening to the Ashley and Andrea.
Hmm.
No, we knew this was going to be a short episode, so I hope that you found it valuable and just helps you feel confident leading into this crazy season that is
Hmm.
going to be upon us starting next week. And as always, we appreciate your listening, and we can't wait to see you on the next episode.
Bye. The content provided in the Double A podcast is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The podcast is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. The information and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not constitute medical advice.